Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Sky Sports Golf podcast. We're back in the vodcast studio once again after a thrilling Masters. Scottie Scheffler, well done, a second green jacket in the wardrobe for him. I've got two guys here who I know watched probably every second of Augusta last week. Zane Scotland, Ollie Fisher, how are we? All right?
Yeah, we're good, Josh. Yeah, good. No, it was a exciting Masters. In amongst it all, everyone getting back together. It gave a lot back to the fans for sure.
Yeah, good to see Bryson back as well. Did you enjoy the 4 days? I mean, you out of everyone I know would have been watching the TV every second.
It's great, isn't it, when the Masters on? Because like whatever's going on, you haven't got to make plans because you just got that. The Masters is on. It's on the coverage. You can flick it on at any point during the tournament, during the day. It's there. I mean, the only bit I didn't really watch was when we were actually playing indoor golf together.
Are you
on
getting
Thursday.
late, are you?
So that was the only time that we probably wasn't watching the golf.
That's true, although it was on, and we were watching bits
In
of
the
it as well.
background,
Bryson putting together a 65, which was fairly entertaining. We'll come on to a bit of Bryson later on because it was good to see him again. I know people who watch Live, they would have seen him quite a lot, but it was good to see him back in a major championship once again. What did you think? We'll come on to Scheffler pretty quick here. He was just immense. But just quickly on the course, it played firm, it played fast. The winds the first 2 days, it made it for a really interesting watch, I thought.
Yeah, it was obviously really, really tough the first 2 days, especially the Friday. I mean, almost close to unplayable at times. And I think, we watched Rahm. He was getting pretty animated out there, not getting his way at certain times. And, the way that we see him kind of being bullish most of the time on a golf course. And Augusta can make you feel like that. But, Åberg had a great score on that Friday, 69. Yeah. And there was obviously still a lot of good golf to be played. So it turned out to be a great week. The Masters sort of weather that we're used to seeing, sun come out on a weekend. And Scheffler, he's just unstoppable at the minute.
Unstoppable. We said last week, I thought it'd be very, very hard to beat. It turned out to be that. A 4-shot win for him, as I said, second green jacket, a final round of 68. But, I mean, was it a proper win? No Taylor Gooch in the field, so was it a real win?
There's an asterisk there, isn't it? There's an asterisk. It was a mega win because it was like it had a bit of like US Open kind of vibe times where there was like they couldn't get at pins and the greens were firming up and it was a bit of a hang-on kind of tournament, which is actually as a fan is brilliant because we got the familiarity of Augusta, but I think kind of deep down, I mean, you're much closer to playing than I am, but like. You kind of want to watch people struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
You want to like the hanging on because that's what the golfing majority or population lives. That's how they live their life playing golf. It's like kind of hang on sort of thing. So it was cool to. It wasn't cool. It was brilliant to see that.
Yeah. What impressed you, Ollie, the most? I mean, we could genuinely talk about Scheffler for the whole podcast here, I reckon. What impressed you the most about him over the week?
Well, I think we're so used to seeing Scheffler lead like strokes gained in every department. And I don't think he was quite there with his iron play last week. But his short game was just unbelievable, like outstanding. Some of the shots he hits around the green zone where, tough, tight lies into the green. You got to get the pace right, judge the speed of it, hitting the slope, getting it going over the right pace over the slope. And he made, even on the Sunday when he comes up short, hits his 3-wood maybe a little bit at the bottom, a little bit short, then he's got 160 yards off another slope, hits a 9-iron, wins slightly in, gets the wind. Comes up way short suddenly. And you're so used to Scheffler being like pin high, and that is kind of like the rule around Augusta. Get the distance right. His line's pretty much always bang on anyway. And, he struggled on the first. Again at number 2, where he hits the bunker, goes long over the green, and you're thinking, hold on a minute here, what's happened to him? Is he come out and he's nervous? He looked nervous, and then he had that tough bunker shot on 3, which was like, Morikawa was just behind him. Hit it to 15-foot pass, which I think is a reasonable shot from there. Scheffler hits it to 2 or 3 feet.
I mean, that's his thing, isn't it? Like, he, as good as he is in all those areas, when he's a bit off, he's just got this short game. His chipping and wedge play around the greens is...
I don't think it gets talked about enough. I said it last week that it's underrated, and David Howe was saying, how can you call it underrated? I just think
it's that good.
It's that good that it's just no one's. His approach play is great. His temperament's great. His putting now looks good. But his short. How many times does he hold out? Megan McLaren said this on Twitter. Yeah. He chips in all the time.
Yeah, a lot.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's a knack.
And especially in that situation where we kind of know that they. Cut the grass away from the green, so chipping into green is always a little bit, a bit dodgy, and makes you a bit nervous. And all those small shots around the Augusta greens, which you've really just got to, the strike has got to be like perfect, and you've got to have like flow and feel. But in the midst of that, like you said, Ollie, like he's nervous. You know what it's like trying to chip when you're nervous, that sort of stuff. He
looks
time
cold,
and time again.
He looks calm.
Just flows, doesn't it? Gets a perfect strike, the right amount of spin, and it just trickles out, and then it's a tap in par or it's a hole out. It's not like 8 feet coming back, stress building. You're like, oh, he's out of position. Oh, tapped in par onto the next. Right, he's back in position again.
He just doesn't make mistakes. And I think there's something that most people watching this and listening to this can learn from. He just doesn't make mistakes.
And that's major golf,
yeah.
In essence, right? You know, it is about limiting the mistakes you make. It's about, Scheffler obviously makes plenty of birdies too, and that's why he's top of the leaderboard. But I think on the whole, look at the way the front nine played out. It was a little bit cagey at the start. Scheffler kind of looked like that. Bogeyed 7 and then went on, made a great putt on number 8.
Yeah.
Then hit that amazing wedge shot into number 9, and it was like Morikawa had a few troubles in the trap, and you felt like then Scheffler just got him sort of self-settled in on the saddle, and he was like, right, I'm ready for this now, and then just kind of like blew the field away, really.
And Ollie kind of alluded it to there. I don't think he had his best stuff Sunday. I really don't, and he still won by 4.
I think he probably didn't have his best stuff all week.
That's scary. That's scary for everyone else.
His approach to the green was probably, he was still really good, but probably the worst it's been for a while, just because he's so good normally. Yeah, he was able to just get it done. I mean, if we rewind to Saturday, I think that's where he kind of won it, because he was starting to look normal on holes 10 and 11, where, double bogey, like everybody does at some point around a main corner or during the Masters drop shots. But there was just there was a piece about it. I mean, I'm not Mystic Meg, but I turned to Josh, my Palabals, and I said to him, mate, he's gonna eagle 13 and birdie 15.
Did you?
I literally said that, and we were sitting there watching it, and he went and he rolled the putt in. And he went, you said it, and I was like, honestly, he just got this. He's in that moment in his career when he just able to he had a rocky patch and then just turn it on precisely at the right time, just to put everyone back in their spot. And he's just had that about him. And that was the feel for the last round, wasn't it? Everybody's kind of just faltering, and he just a bit like he did at TPC Tallgrass, he just hits all the shots you're supposed to hit.
So we're going to leave the table here for a few moments, because after his win at the Masters on Sunday, Scottie Scheffler grabbed a few minutes with our very own Jamie Weir to talk about his victory.
I wanted to win so badly. And, I sat there at home this morning and I was just telling my buddies, I wish that I didn't want to win as badly as I did, because it might make the mornings a little bit easier. But, they spoke some truth into me, and we had a nice morning, and then got out here and tried to get as settled in as possible.
Before a ball had been hit this week, a lot of people were already putting the green jacket on your shoulders. That brings its own pressure. How do you block all that out and just get on with it?
Yeah, I was about to say, it definitely does bring its own pressure. I think the questions in the media are a bit different, but at the end of the day, when you step up there on the first tee, we all start even par. I didn't get a head start just because I've been playing good the last few weeks. So it's nice. I think there's an extra bit of satisfaction being able to come in here and perform when the expectations placed upon me from the outside were so high, and I was able to kind of put those to the side and have a nice week.
You're humble and modest, almost to a fault, but indulge me for a second and blow your own trumpet. Do you feel as if you're a generational talent who's ready to dominate this game?
I don't really think about that kind of stuff. I'm just me. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm not trying to do anything crazy. I'm just trying to be the best that I can be, and that's all I'm focused on. So I'll let you all decide all that stuff at the end of my career, but at the end of the day, I'm just trying to come out here and compete, have fun, and go live the rest of my life outside the course.
He's now a 2-time Masters champion. He joins this list of Alathabal, Seve, Crenshaw, Langer, Bubba, Tom Watson, Horton Smith, Ben Hogan, Byron Nelson, and now Scottie Scheffler to win 2 green jackets. I mean, that is a ridiculous list to be a member of.
I mean, going through those names, just as you reeled them off there, I think almost apart from Byron Nelson, you'd actually say I think he's a better player than all those guys.
Oh, Zane.
Who's better?
I'm just trying to process that statement from you. The Tiger comparisons we got a lot of, and we've got a small sample size, remember, of Scheffler. I am kind of with you. I think we're in quite a special era here of Scheffler. Why do you think that, though?
this consistency he's had for so long now has been, it's the best we've seen in my generation of watching and being around golf since Tiger.
Yeah.
On top of that, he's not fazed by much. He seems to be a good guy. It all comes pretty simple to him, but it's a style of game that he has. His wins are completely done by his long game, which I think that's what has longevity. We do have players have come in like Jordan Spieth had that amazing run.
Yeah.
But it was heavily weighted on like magical moments, whereas with Scottie Scheffler, it's not over. I know he does produce magical moments, but his wins and his form is not on magical moments. It's just good.
I mean, in that run there, they were good shots. They were great shots. They weren't like the magical chip-ins from Spieth and things like that.
He hits the shots you're supposed to hit.
He doesn't hit outplay, does he? So he's driving so
Exactly.
good. And I think like this week, the fact that we're talking about his iron play maybe not quite being as strong as what it has been, but he's still not be outside the top 10 in iron play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And if at any point as a pro golfer, if your game's that good and your bad's that good, we talk often, with coaches and on tour, it's not how good your good is, it's how good your bad is. And Scottie Scheffler's bad is still so top 10 in the world. So you look at anyone trying to get up near him, if Scottie's having a bad day, as long as he putts all right or still driving it in the fairway, he's going to be right there or thereabouts. And I think this week, seeing him, he sort of found his rhythm on the back nine. It's just, as soon as he goes, he's got so much more than anyone else at the minute.
Winning means a lot to him, and he hates shooting over par.
He doesn't shoot over par, does he?
But he doesn't shoot over par. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think 72 this week was his worst round of the year.
Yeah. He's not shot over par in 24, is he?
No, I don't think he has. That's just absurd. All right, last thing on Scottie, and we're going to go wild here. We're going to go really outside the box. We can't even see the box. Can Scottie Scheffler do the Grand Slam this year?
It's very conceivable. I mean, there's so many things that need to come into play there to make that happen. But I mean, he could do it. He probably won't. But absolutely. But it's definitely within the realms.
Valhalla, Pinehurst, and Troon are the three left as well.
Troon's the only one that throws it up just because it's like a weather issue.
I think so. That would be the one for me. He's already the firm favourite for Valhalla, the PGA.
Yeah. We're talking like hypothetically, right? And I think, it's a long shot. Anyone to do the Grand Slam in a year, it's above and beyond.
Yeah.
I think Scottie, the way that he plays, he's certainly with a chance every week he tees up. We all know that. He's won 3 out of the last 4 events, all big events as well on the PGA Tour. So
doesn't win small events.
He doesn't.
Exactly.
He
even
doesn't.
Phoenix, which is still a good big event. Yeah.
I watched him at the Valero Texas Open, and it seemed like he was a bit ratty, a little bit tired that week, and missed a few greens and chipped a lot. That I'd say that week was probably as tough or tougher than Augusta around the greens. So that maybe stood him in good stead in terms of his chipping coming into this week. But leading on, it's going to be a factor of how he manages his time and his schedule, and also his life. I think that's the thing that's going to change over the next few weeks for Scottie.
Sleep patterns might change a little bit. A bit of play, wouldn't it?
I'm sure he'll get plenty of help though.
I think so. Yeah. He's lost to one golfer since March the 1st. Scottie Scheffler. It's absolutely insane.
I've lost to one golfer as well since that time. He's sitting right next to me.
I heard you doing a good game, and I heard Ollie was rather good as well. Maybe we'll do that later on in the podcast. Come on, just talk us through your round. I haven't got the highlights on the screen, unfortunately, of that. Let's come on to the man who was runner-up last week, the 24-year-old who's been a pro for about 27 minutes, Ludvig Åberg, who, it was a sensational 4 days of golf from him, and kind of put aside all the stereotypes of rookies at Augusta. Doesn't seem like a normal rookie, though, this guy, does he? By the way, he's now 7th in the world. And he's been a pro for just under an hour. 3 shots clear in second he was, Ludvig. What stands out for you about him the most?
Well, good point, actually. I think actually a man who's going to put scuppers to Scottie's Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Go basically. This guy is somebody who's actually not going to be fazed by anybody around him. You can see at the moment, yes, he's not got a scar tissue yet, or it will likely come at some point. But as you said, he's a real odd rookie. He's an odd rookie just from the point of he's gone to Augusta, finished second. That was his first major. He's gone to somewhere which we all know is like a experienced place to go to, and he's turned it on. And and he's got great attitude.
Yeah.
He's got like no scar tissue. He's coming straight in. He knows he's really unique, and like watching him play golf is just an absolute pleasure. Like
I
each
can't
part.
think of a rookie like him for years. I mean, since Tiger.
Well, there's no rookie like him. Is
I
there?
can't think.
And I
of
think
one.
the thing about him is that it wasn't like he come out and he's sort of earned his way out there. Obviously, got his card through the PGA Tour and the college system, but being thrown in at the Ryder Cup, he's been thrown in right at the deep end, managing to win the Omega European Masters the week before, and it was like really sort of confirmed his selection. How hard is that to do? We've all played that course, and it's a really fiddly track, and he's like a great driver of the ball. He does everything well. Everything he does is great, but he certainly steps up to the plate, and the questions have been asked of him, and he's flown past every question with flying colours. Leading into Augusta, I'd never played a major before. Bang, finishes second. And again, that Friday that was out, that was a really, really testing day. And the Sunday, having made double on 11, it seems like his attitude, and he sort of come out of his shell a little bit, because he seems like when you watch him, he's really calm, focused. But it was nice to see him smiling and happy, and it was like he smiled the whole round.
It looks like he was playing for a fiver with his mates. That's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah.
It's frightening.
When he was coming to that Ryder Cup, to kind of like have his back and be like, I played that Rory. I played with this guy. He's your man. I mean, as a youngster, being that age and someone of that stature on the tour, kind of having like thinking like putting it out there that like you're different. I mean, he probably knew it already, but that's moved him from like thinking, oh, what a great opportunity. I'm really happy to have got on tour, to like a real like. They're more bolstered than getting someone like Rory McIlroy believe in you, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, I'm already here now. Yeah,
so you think almost like getting in the Ryder Cup, being amongst that team, having the guys around him say that, has almost like catapulted him a little bit in terms of his belief.
I mean, we kind of got on tour together at the same time. We played a bit of Rory. He never said that about me.
Still time.
Nightmare.
There's still time. Still time. I love the way he was playing to the crowd. High fives, fist bumps. Someone knocked him, dropped his chocolate bar. That would make me.
He should have picked that up.
Angry.
Yeah. I felt like he just left it on the floor.
It's like a 5 second rule, right?
Like 35 seconds for me. But like that was just like brilliant. One thing maybe, look, be parents watching at home and stuff like that. He's only 24. What can parents learn from if their kid want to play golf and see the attitude that Ludvig has on the course? What can parents learn for their kids?
Just got to keep buying their son ice creams, haven't they? Didn't his dad just keep buying him ice creams?
That's what it was, yeah.
Another hour, he'd have another ice cream.
I know, yeah. But I mean, you're a parent. You got kids in golf.
Yeah.
What can people learn from watching Ludvig?
I mean, from as a player gets kind of mid-teens and so forth, I think that the prospect of going to the States and following that path is the way to go. Like, it makes you competitive. I think it does help these players raise their belief systems in that they feel like you do literally go from college to the tour. So it's got like from a belief point of view, and then the next part is it is actually a genuine avenue. But I think that, and then the very next part is he's got a good golf coach.
Yeah.
Back in Sweden, like who looks after him, because I think when some players go to an American college or the US college system, they call their essentially team managers, but they call them coaches, and you hear it time after time of like, oh, I went there and I was kind of thinking I was going to get a bit of help in my golf, but the coach isn't really a coach as we see it. It's a very different thing. But he's obviously kept that relationship with his coach, so he's been able to grow his game while competing. And if also you can, if you can get your child to hit 330 yards, be a good wedge player, be 6'4", have a great attitude, and take things on the chin, you do okay.
Exactly, because he's not normal.
He's not.
And the point Zane's making, college system in America is brilliant. If you want to go away, learn how to live out of a suitcase on your own, in that environment. What a great way to go and kind of build your career, or certainly get some fundamentals around what you're going to do. But I think in every sport, doesn't matter if it's golf or football or cricket, there are standout, outliers, and there's people that are just double good. And it's about channeling. If you're double good, it's about working out. Not getting too involved, figuring out what's right for Ludvig or for whatever player it may be. And at the minute, he's there, and he's just outperforming everyone in the kind of capacity that has come out of him. And it'll be interesting to see what he does the next sort of few months, because it's major season now. Having had Augusta, And I think what was he, 4th or 5th favourite starting last week,
Yeah.
having never played it before.
Crazy.
I mean, just unbelievable. And
Crazy.
but going into
Essentially delivered.
going into the PGA, what's to say he can't go and win that?
I know, but yeah, absolutely, yeah. He was my number 1 pick last week, everyone. So just
That.
thumbs up for
Have
me.
that.
Thumbs up for me. All Square Not Tied. I've asked for questions on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. All Square Not Tied has asked, is there the potential for a Ludvig v Scottie to be one of the great rivalries in golf? The history has already started to be written as they were opponents for the 9 and 7 in the Ryder Cup. And he made Scottie cry, remember, as well. I mean, it has got the potential, hasn't it, as a rivalry?
Absolutely. I mean, Scottie's obviously doing the bits right now, and then we've got this guy who's he's probably the best player to come out and raise the fame quickly, other than like Tiger, probably since like someone like Sergio, really.
Yeah.
Sergio was it was like a kick in that he's going to be
Spieth was
special.
pretty quick as well, but not as quick as this.
Yeah, but even with Spieth, like there was something different about Sergio. You thought like he could be a Tiger challenger, and it didn't quite work out. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it could be one of the great rivalries in sport. In sport, I'm going to say in sport. Let's talk about Tommy. Tommy played just fantastic, I thought. He's now got a top 5 in all the majors as well, Fleetwood. In his first top 5, it was at Augusta for Tommy Fleetwood. I mean, how many times did he graze the edge with putts? I lost count in the end.
Yeah, we're so used to seeing Tommy do that, aren't we? He is ball striking. I've played him a few times, and Tommy's a great guy to play with. He's down the middle of every fairway. He's hitting it what seems like the perfect shot. Exactly. We've not got to search for his ball. And he, unlike myself, and if he can make a few more putts, I think from an English perspective, he is definitely our best hope of winning a major. Yeah. With no doubt. He, every part of his game is brilliant. His short game's come on over the last few years, which I think stood out. The fact that he can control his ball, he can cut it up a bit when he needs to. Which obviously going into these tougher weeks or major weeks, generally you need to have a bit of that because the weather varies, maybe the Open or whatever else. But he ticks every box, Tom. And I think going into the season, he's got to look at if he can hold a few more putts. It was interesting the fact he didn't have Ian on his bag this week.
Yeah.
But that seemed to make no difference to him at all.
That would have been actually as much as I wanted Tommy to win.
I know what you're going to say.
I would been really, really gutted had he won without Finau on the bag. Because Finau had literally been there since he was an amateur.
Yeah.
Hasn't he?
What did he hurt himself, didn't he?
He's just unwell, I believe.
He's poorly. Yeah, he's sick at the moment. He was sick at Sawgrass. We went out to watch him. He was carrying a stand bag, and he was kind of like standing off from him. And he looked like he was struggling a little bit, and then I think that's just continued. So hopefully he gets well soon.
I'd love to see Tommy. I'd love to see Tommy win a major.
Yeah, it would be fantastic. He had a local caddy called Gray Moore on the bag. I think they knew each other beforehand, Tommy and Gray. And if it's 10%, then that's a lovely pay.
It wouldn't be. What would it be? Would it be 7.5?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
10% of a win. It normally goes 10, 7.5, 5, right?
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's still not a bad payday
Normally,
for him for Gray. Local caddy there. So that was brilliant. His ball striking looks immense, Tommy. It looks. Even Butch said on commentary. He thinks it's the best he's ever seen it.
Butch's obviously got a bit of an invested interest in it to big him up there. But but you're right though. Kind of as Ollie said, he's got a really sharp game, and I think he's got the game which is it's suited to kind of any conditions, which is not that normal. He just his stock shot is a pretty nice high tight draw. As Ollie says, he can move it left or right if he needs to,
and he can keep it down. He can hit different windows.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is, I played with him in the summer last year, and he'd just gone to see Butch. And Tommy can talk about the swing as much as all of us, right?
He's a bit of, he's into the swing, isn't he? He's
he loves it. And he says he goes and see Butch chatting away, and I said, "What did he say, Tom? Like, what did he tell you to do?" And Tommy, in his swing, he can just like rock forward a little bit in the takeaway. So Butch just said, "Just set up your weight a little bit more on your heels. Let's set up." He went, "That was basically it."
Really?
Yeah.
$10,000.
Yes.
But how nice is it to hear people at the top of the game, going back to Scheffler or Tommy, where their prowess and their ball striking skills are so supreme that the game gets so simple. And it seems like Tommy is kind of, hopefully this tied third finish at the Masters can give him a little bit of confidence coming into the rest of the season. His formula hopefully is kind of sorted. He's not got to tinker too much with different things. We always see him with the same training drills. Yeah. The stuff that's simple to him that he does time and time again. And he goes out and repeats. And, let's hope he has a good summer.
talk about a couple more players. I've always said this last few years. I've always loved watching Bryson play. I love golfers, sports people thinking outside the box. He's a long way outside the box, coming in with 3D printed irons that were only approved by the USGA. Honestly, it's his own box. Approved by the USGA on the Monday before last week. Apparently cost $10,000, I read. Though just the irons.
You ordered two sets.
Yeah, I've got two coming in now, yeah. By Avoda, a company I've never heard of, but they work for him. New driver, new 3-wood, new 5-wood for him. He had him picking up the signpost as well, which, I mean...
What was that?
That was just gold. There were memes for that everywhere on the internet. He is box office. He really is.
Yeah, he's brilliant from so many different respects. 1 minute he's giving you this like data, and he's like, this guy, he's like, blowing your mind with all this. Like, this guy's really smart. And then, like you said, like he just picks up a sign, and he's just rolling around with it, pointing. Where we're going. And you're like, well, what is this guy doing? You know, like it's just he is the mad scientist, and he, you know, even to his technique and that sort of stuff, he's like always searching for something new. Like there's been a lot of chat about what he does with his left arm and his weak grip and so forth. And he's just trying to. Even at the level he's at, he's just trying to figure out a new way of doing it. And I think actually his golf now is very different to where it was a year and a half ago, and the year and a half ago was very different to where it had been a year previous. It's evolving quite a lot. But
how hard is that to do?
Yeah.
Usually you've got a player, and, you know, Zane will say from when he's played, and myself, generally your game's your game. You know, you can't change it that much. All right, you might be able to gain a little bit of yardage, but Bryson's gained 40 yards, like within a winter almost.
Yeah.
And he's still by far a lot longer than the rest of the players, you know, playing.
Yeah.
But I think he's maturer now than what he was a couple of years ago. You know, when he come back in and made that comment about the 67s and playing Augusta, and that's my par around here, and it kind of put him up in his place that he could only foul. I think now he's starting to handle the media a bit better.
Matured, I think.
He has. Yeah. He definitely has. And, you know, he's great to watch. He's so good to watch.
He is.
You know, that shot he holed on the 18th on Saturday.
Oh,
brilliant.
Great, wasn't it?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Yeah. You seem like you never know what's coming next with him. Although sometimes he can go out, and I think he shot 58 last year on Live.
58, 61.
He's outstanding, and his career's been outstanding all the way through. And it's nice to have someone that you feel like can change their game. He's moving around, which, by the way, that's so tough to do that. You know, if you see a fade like Monty or Nicholas, and you know, guys, we can move around a little bit. But Bryson's completely changing the way he sees a golf course. Generally, you got a hole that looks tight. You know, he can smash it down there 350 yards.
I think most good players and most tour players that come through, like on their career, they get used to seeing a ball go in a certain window. And what I mean by that is, you know, if it's low left or high right or mid right or straight,
Mine's
whatever it is.
low right.
Low right.
Yeah.
Low right going right. No. But his has completely changed, and that's one thing you get. Like even when you hear chats of Tiger, like changing equipment, it's like, no, that 6 iron you give me there is in the wrong window for my normal shot. And yes, you can hit all the other shots, but with Bryson, you would say like, what's his shot? He's like, it just depends what his flavour of the month at the time. I mean, yes, he hits it, you know, colossal distances, but you know, he just worked out some crazy little ways, and there's a bunch of things that he does which, like, that seem to have good reasons behind them. No one else does it.
Do you think that he's a little bit too much draw biased in terms of his iron play, and then being versatile around certain courses, or?
Yeah, I think what you would see, like for me, if you know put him against like Aberg, who we just or Åberg, as we were just talking about, like his wedge play wouldn't be as direct as Ludvig's.
Yeah.
Like yes, sometimes you then fuss him with as a bit of shape and spin and so forth, but then the overpowering part comes into play for Bryson a little bit, because you can kind of power your way through stuff, can't you?
Yeah, and I think that's where you come back to Scottie. He's not the fastest. He's 173 miles an hour ball speed. You know, he is pretty much middle of the road. But his iron play, it seems like whatever pin it is, he'll put it on the right flight and the right shape to get near. Almost. Yeah. Now we spend a lot of time with Faldo, and Faldo obviously been unbelievable at Augusta through the years. You know, it's like to play with someone that's got a complete game. That's what Scottie's got, and Bryson, I think, can be a bit one-dimensional. Yeah. But that gets you a 58.
Sure.
Yeah. And it gets you your low rounds at times. But then the odd ones are out, which I think we see. You know, maybe just lost a little bit of momentum at times.
Like a tough day at Troon, Bryson's probably not going to be your man, is he?
No.
Going to grind it out. But a Scottie or something like that, you think, yeah, he probably will.
But he
find
could
out
come
what's
out
gonna
like that
say.
next time, couldn't he?
Yeah, good
That's
point.
it. Yeah, exactly. Like completely change again. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
In a 260.
We'll come back to our table chat in a few moments' time. Earlier this morning, I grabbed a few minutes with Sophie Walker. It's the first women's major of the year at the Chevron this week, and I spoke to her about the event. I know for a fact that despite this Chevron Championship review, that this person watched every single minute, not just of Sunday, I reckon all 4 days of the Masters. Sophie Walker, morning.
Morning. I've got a bad back. I've actually checked into a massage later today because my back is so sore from just laying on the sofa watching it. Loved every single minute of it. As soon as I was allowed to, I was watching. We did say Scottie Scheffler would win, and he did. So it's good when we get stuff right. But he's ace, isn't he? He's so good.
Oh, he is ace. He is ace. Absolutely. I reckon a lot of masseuses and like Theragun businesses are doing quite well after the weekend. People with bad backs.
Yeah, and then there's another major to come, so I might be crippled by the next two. I'm normally quite an active person, but I suppose I am. I went and played golf like every day in the morning, and then just came and sat down. And I think that was probably the worst thing I could have done.
Oh dear! The winds yesterday. If anyone played golf yesterday, Monday, and the winds that I think England had, especially, good on you. I mean, that we looked frightening out there. Anyway, so if you mentioned another major, back-to-back majors. We had the first men's major last week. It's the first women's major championship this week. The Chevron Championship, club at Carlton Woods. The headline act, without even thinking about it, is Nelly looking for 5 in a row. I mean, Scottie's record was pretty good coming into the Masters. Nelly's is even better. You know what, Soph? I was like thinking the other day, I thought 5 in a row. I mean, it's never been done. It's been done twice already. Nancy Lopez and Sorenstam have done it twice. She didn't quite have the year last year, Nelly. What is different this year, Soph, about her?
I believe that last year with Lilia Vu winning 2 majors and getting to the top, an American at the top of the world ranking, and it's not Nelly Corda. That must have really hit her hard. I think she's injury-free now. She started to work with a new putting coach. Do you know what? It's a bit similar to what Scottie Scheffler, is kind of doing. It's like, right, what do I think I need to work on? I think it's my putting. So towards the end of the year, she went to work with Eric Dietrich, which is, who does he work with? Joaquin Neiman, Carlos Ortiz down in Jupiter. So she started working with him, went to a mallet. Actually, has gone back to an answer, but those similar start of Scottie Scheffler, Phil Kenyon went to a mallet, started to address that. But if you look deep into her stats, her putting is a bit better. Her short game is so much better. She's inside the top 10 short game, and her approach play. Last year, she was 92nd in approach play, and now she's in the top 20. And obviously, we know how good she is off the tee. So everything's getting better as she gets closer to the green. And I feel in the women's game, short spurts of excellence kind of goes well. Look at Patty Tavatanakit winning back-to-back. Now we've got Nelly 4 in a row. We might not see the 2 years of domination. We certainly won't see the Tiger domination. But in the women's game, they get hot quick. It might not last too long. If Nelly does, I think it will be the first time we've maybe seen that since, the type of players that you're talking about there with the Annikas and the Nancy Lopez's. But basically, Josh, she looks like she's working hard in the right places, and the stats are showing that.
Her last win, the match play at Shadow Creek, that was her 12th LPGA win. Out of those 12, she's only won 1 major though, Soph. Which it's a weird balance that for the standard of player that Nelly is. Do you think it's just a mindset thing, possibly?
Similar in the women's game, isn't it? It wasn't until Lilia Vu and Minjee Lee finally got like 1 and 2 majors. It seemed like everybody has got 1 major. The field this week at the Chevron, 25% of those players in the field have a major. So Incredible. It just gets shared out. Now it's time to separate yourself. And I think the fact that Minjee has got 2 and Lilia Vu has got 2, it's now time for her to step up. Little bit like a Rory, why she needs to be told that you can't do it. maybe that's it for Nelly, that type of thing. Maybe there's other people that are going to overtake her. It's almost that's exactly what she is. And what I've been impressed with is those wins, different golf courses, have been in quite miserable conditions.
Yeah.
It used to be said that Nelly was great in Florida, but actually she's been brilliant chucking on those waterproofs. I tell you what, those grape pants waterproofs, Josh, I'd be turning up in Chevron playing in them, even if it was boiling. They're like the Lucky Charms.
Sweat it out. Hey, so who's playing better at the moment, Scottie or Nelly?
Oh, come on. Come on. Scottie's done something which is really hard to do. He's turned up at a major as the favourite and won it by 4. Okay. That's incredibly difficult to do. That's what Nelly's got to do this week. I would reach out to Scottie and say, look, if you've got half an hour just to chat, just to see how you handled it, who's playing better? I wouldn't want to take either of them on. No. I'd want them on my team.
Yeah, it was mildly rhetorical, that question. It was just, but you can't compare them. You can't compare them, really. Defending champions Lilia Vu, who had just a magic 2023. Quite a quiet year so far, really, for her. 1 top 10, I want to say, and a couple of average results. Any reason for that, Soph?
Yeah, she's been injured. She pulled out of, what was I doing? Singapore. She pulled out of Singapore because that was when we thought, Celine Boutier might go to world number 1 if she wins. Then she pulled out of China. So she went to these events, teed it up, and clearly wasn't there yet. Last season, she had that lull in the middle of the season, in between those 2 majors, bad back. It's not the best thing to have a bad back, is it, when you're a tour player? However, I've seen signs that she's been out working with her coach, and hopefully that she comes back healthy. I think the key is really for Lilia Vu to be healthy. That would be why I put her down to the poor start to the season.
Yeah, 2 majors last year. Lilia Vu was outstanding from her. A number of European Soph in the field this week. Who do you think's got the best chance of taking the title?
Well, I think, I'm sure going to say European. I think an American will. I just think this time of the season is so weighed towards an American in the men's and the women's game. If you look at our Europeans, they've had to travel to Asia, then they're going back to America. Charlie Hull and Georgia have been playing golf in England. And we were talking about, where do you play golf in England that's dry? Just follow Charlie and Georgia around, because they seem to be able to tee it up when every other course is shut.
Yeah.
They just jump on Instagram. But, they've maybe not had the start of the season, which you would expect. But with the Europeans, I always look to them kicking on from here on out. I mean, if you look at Georgia, Georgia's fallen from 10 to 28 in the world in a year. Charlie's inside the top 10. But the summers where they've both said, actually, that they're going to skim down the schedule. In fact, even Lynn Grant, Maya Stark have been saying the same, because we've got Solheim and the Olympics this year.
Yeah.
So we have 5 majors in the women's game. Suddenly it's nearly 7. Maybe that's why we're not seeing them at the peak of the powers now, because they're trying to conserve some energy. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm looking towards an American for the Chevron in terms of us European contingent. Georgia came 12th there last year. But it is, I know we're probably going to go on to Charlie, but it's interesting to see what will happen with Charlie Hull now with a major. After she finished at the AIG, she was interviewed, was it by Henny or Sarah? And she said, I'm going to practice until my hands bleed. I want a major. I've never wanted it more. Well, this is her first chance to get one.
I mean, let's talk about Charlie. You say you've been practicing. All she does is practice, Charlie. She's either in the gym or she's practicing multiple times a day. We both know, and a lot of people know, Charlie is obsessed by golf. She genuinely loves going out. Can she possibly practice too much, Soph?
Well, it's important for everyone to realise that Charlie doesn't sleep. So she actually has 24 hours in the day. Yeah, I mean, she just never stops. She never stops in her head, and she never stops physically. I think the gym's been amazing for her. That's going to improve her strength and golf game, her mentality especially. It just helps her like switch off and just focus on something, like running until I can't run anymore. This is a really good sign for Charlie. Would I worry that she'd get burnt out? She's 28 years old now. She's been on tour, must be over 10 years because of that. No, because no one's making Charlie do this. You know, if she had a parent, agents, then it'd be different. But really, it's all she actually wants to do. The travelling gets to her, so she's tried to maintain that. The only thing is, since she's been home, she's had some injuries. She whacked herself on the nose playing paddle tennis. Yeah. Then she fell over a dog and she sprained her ankle a little bit. So this week she is playing with some tape on that ankle.
Yeah.
But she's had what? I think we worked out when last time I saw her live was in USA for the Aramco Team Series. That was her seventh since her win. And I remember in her first year on the LET, she had 5 seconds in a row, which suggests she's really close, but then has that habit of coming second. And it's obviously it's amazing, isn't it? She just shows how consistent she is. She's in the top 10 in the world. She's been there since the summer, but she's going to want to start swapping those seconds for first.
Someone who was first the other week, Soph, and we had news that she's going to take part in the Chevron, is Lottie Woad, who won the Augusta National Women's Amateur a couple of weeks ago. Member of Farnham Golf Club. One of our producers at Sky is a member there as well, so he was well happy. I mean, what a week it's going to be for her Lottie. Her first time playing in a major championship. I mean, I think she just needs to enjoy it, surely.
Absolutely. This is her first, as you say, first major championship. She's played in a sprinkle of Rose Ladies Series, LET access events and done very well in them. She's committed to kind of playing that season as an amateur, which will be amazing. We've got St Andrews to come, all the majors that she gets into and LPGA events. I've spoken to her, and in true Lottie style, she had 18 holes yesterday. She's having 9 holes today because she's in the Pro-Am, and 9 holes tomorrow. And I'm like, you're a pro already. You know, most amateurs would just be out there, 18 holes, 18 holes. Who can I play with? You'll be looking down at the practice sheet going, right, I want to play with Nelly. I want to play with Charlie. No, not Lottie. I've said this before. She's the new Georgia Hall, in my opinion, the way that she thinks about things. She's got herself a local caddy. And I just hope she embraces it, which she will, but she will learn so much. She will be writing everything down of who she's met, what they've said. Why am I better than this person in this area? Why are they better than me in other areas? And it will be a year of what do I need to do in order for when I turn professional? Because it's not if she turns professional, it's when she turns professional.
Lottie just starting her professional career. And final thing, Soph, a player finishing her professional career this week. We're going to say goodbye to So-Yeon Yu, who retiring from competitive golf, 6 LPGA Tour wins, including 2 majors, numerous wins on the KLPGA. She has been a star, really, hasn't she, in her career on the LPGA?
Yeah, lovely person, both on and off the golf course. You mentioned there, 2 times winner. She actually won the Chevron in 2017. And this is it for her now. We don't quite know what's going to happen from here on out. You do get that a lot in the women's game. You get the players retiring earlier. They don't go on into their 40s and 50s, really. And also a special shout out to Angela Stanford. She's nearly retired, but she's looking to play 100 consecutive majors in a row. So at the minute, if she plays in this one, then she'll be 2 away. So she's looking to do it by the end of this year, which will be a pretty special achievement as well.
I should admit, Lydia Ko. I think Lydia Ko, if she wins, she gets into the Hall of Fame. Lydia Ko's she's only about 17 years old. So Lydia Ko, it's like she's been around about 3 minutes. Insane. Absolutely insane. I kind of hope she does it in a way.
Yeah, she needs 1 point, which is an LPGA event. If she wins a major, she gets 2 points. So she really does step right through that door. She won a major since she was a teenager. I mean, literally. And she won one in her 20s.
I can't remember. So
she's only won 2. She's only won 2.
Evian when she was a teenager,
and this one.
Yeah.
So
jeez.
Yeah,
about time.
Maybe about time, Lydia.
Yeah, it's about time, really. Okay, then. Who wins, Soph? Is this an easy pick?
Oh. Who wins? Is it the same as if you beat Scottie, you win the Masters? If you beat Nelly, you win? I don't think we're quite there yet. Yeah, I don't expect Nelly to finish outside the top 5.
Oh, okay. All right. 132 players in the field. It's not like the limited field like the Masters as well. So she's got more to get past than Scottie does. Scottie did. So, but 5 in a row. Be a bit of history this week if she does it. It's going to be fabulous viewing. Plenty of hours on it on Sky. So hope the back gets better. I mean, you're going to be watching all 4 days. Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be watching all 4 days anyway. So if the back's hurting, who cares?
Exactly.
So thanks so much. Appreciate your time this morning and enjoy the first women's major of the year this week.
Thank you.
Let's first talk about Rory. Last week, MB Rabs has said, Rory. Our dreams dashed again from Rory. Not his best week. 4 over in the end for the tournament. There were hopes after Texas Valero. Good result there. What went wrong? What wasn't quite right, do you think, for Rory last week?
I mean, we had a couple of tough days. I mean, that comes into it. So, like that at that level, it's really on a nice edge. You can not do much wrong and then within an hour period be like miles away.
Yeah.
And then that sets off a whole nother set of emotions of you trying to be patient or try and get back into it and so forth. That's one part. Possibly playing with Scottie Scheffler the first couple of rounds, who's just on his game.
Yeah.
That can't help because he, there's times when Rory's on, not saying that Rory would have been intimidated, but he probably is a tiny bit distracted because Rory's not interested in just making up the numbers. Rory wants to go there and be the man, basically. That's kind of his remit. He doesn't, he's very different to Scheffler in that way. Like, Rory wants to be the centre of attention and wants it to be on him. So, and then maybe not being bang on his game, wasn't able to impose himself. And then he just wants to win the Masters, like, so badly. I think
he needs it to complete the elusive Grand Slam. So it is the question mark in his kind of repertoire, I guess, the fact that, if he can have that, he joins an unbelievable.
It means more to him than anybody else.
Yeah. So
I read someone said today maybe the best thing for Rory coming into the Masters would be people saying that he can't win the Masters, and then that also almost gives him a little boost that he needs. Say, right, I'll prove you wrong.
Should we start it here on the Sky Sports?
Should we do it now?
Podcast, like, just
no chance.
Like reverse psychology. We all want to win, right? No one telling. Don't tell him.
There's an email here from Sway. It's only on my phone, everyone. That's why I've got my phone out. He said, long-winded question for the pod, but it's regarding Rory and the Masters. I love Rory. He's my favourite player, and I'm rooting for him every week. But I hear often that his game is suited for Augusta, and the data does back it up. But I get the feeling that he doesn't necessarily have the creativity or temperament for it. His second shot at 11 on Friday sums it up for me. His shot versus Scheffler's shot shows the difference in temperament and creativity. Thoughts?
For one, I think Rory has got the creativity. I saw that shot live, and he hit it too high, and it was a gusty day, right? So as soon as you get something in the air, the wind affects it a bit more. And Rory can win in any conditions. It is suited if it's a bit wetter, a bit longer, and he can show off his driving skills. We all know that Rory's strength for his game is his driving, albeit he can hit all shots with his irons too. And I think his swing at times, with how he swings, the speed that he swings at with an iron shot, if he gets a little bit deeper in the backswing, it can, just give it a little bit too much draw. The ball can come off a little bit fast, and then as soon as you start missing a couple of shots long left, it gives a little bit of doubt. When you look at Scottie, in the meantime, even going back to this week, playing with him on Friday, the first 2 rounds, Rory had a tough day on Friday, and he hung in well, made some good par putts coming in and some good up and downs. So that shows where he's at as a competitor. He still finished 22nd. He's not had a great week. He's not been where he wanted to be, but he's not gone and been awful.
No.
I think the thing we got to learn from it is go, well, can he win at Augusta? Yeah, of course he can win. He blew up in 2011 on the back nine, and comes out and wins the US Open the following week. I think Rory can answer all his own questions. It's all in his own destiny. The fact is, he's trying to get a golf ball in a hole, and sometimes it doesn't always play ball. As long as he stays in the right kind of frame of mind and he's got his competitiveness and his ferocity about him, he could. I think he'll do it.
The thing about Rory is he's very, very human. Like, you know, sometimes you watch the golfers and think that's inhumane what he does, but like Rory has that relativity. Easy for me to say.
Good.
Thanks, mate. But one of the pieces was that obviously he had a lesson with Butch Harmon just recently. Did some work and it was quite well documented. And you know, had a bunch of pals who were like, "Oh, he had a lesson with Butch. Like, you know, he's going to win this week," and they go and put their bets on. But we all know, like in reality, like he was still working on his game. Like he was still doing his pre-shot routine for the backswing, which means like just because you go and have a lesson from anybody or work on something, you don't necessarily get it straight away. And then you're then stood in the 10th fairway at Augusta and you're fighting the left shot, and you got this ball above your feet on the downhill, like it's only going one way, and you know to the point of someone like Scheffler who's not questioning himself, and he's playing the game. Rory's at the moment he's probably playing a little bit of golf swing on a golf course where you can't play golf swing, so I wouldn't actually be that surprised if, like, give him 2 weeks of practice, all of a sudden not having to think about it. I think we might see a very, very different Rory because, as I said, he wasn't on his game, but still, like, he was there or thereabouts. Yes, we want him to win this one. We want him to win every single time he comes out, but, you know, it's all part of the process.
Where do you think we're going to see him?
I mean, I just think...
Just saying, his last major was at Valhalla at the PGA Championship. Where's the PGA Championship next month?
No, it's tough when you're someone of Rory's clout that almost holds the weight of the European Tour or the DP World Tour. He's been the man on the PGA Tour for a certain amount of time. Still is, in theory. Obviously, Scottie's kind of catapulted himself to the guy that's in form. But we all look at Rory as he's kind of like the needle mover for the game of golf. Coming into the first major here, his game clearly wasn't quite where he wanted it to be. You know, he won in Dubai. He's not had the best season on the PGA Tour up until last week. Had a great last round, great finish. But it's hard to get it all right. And Augusta, with the weather, the conditions that suit him, I don't know. Maybe it needs to be a bit softer for him to win Augusta. Maybe it needs to be, you know, a bit damp, playing long, playing tough, as in that side of things, rather than seeing it a bit firmer, a bit faster and windy. Probably not the ideal conditions for Rory last week. Although it's not to say he can't do it. I just think probably is a little bit tougher for his game. And to go and change around that for the way that Rory's always played, it's probably it's too big a change. Whereas you look at like Scheffler or Tiger, even Nicklaus through the years or Faldo, they're a lot more plotting. They plot their way a bit more than Rory. Rory, he can overpower courses. That's how he plays.
He alphas tournaments in Calvert.
Courses, I thought she's got Ludvig as well to deal with now as well. One last thing from Augusta. We're going to have a bit of fun here, folks. We did this on Masters Breakfast. It was quite amusing. Go look at some of the clothing that went on last week. Look, I know there's some people who take their fashion seriously, everyone. This man here to my left, Zane. But we can have a bit of fun here, folks. And these are some of the outfits from last week. Should we kick off with Tommy? This was, I think, the practice round. This violet cardi, a bit too baggy for me, maybe.
Not a bit of you? Not feeling that one?
Absolutely. I mean, this is not me either. Wyndham Clark. What do you think of these two tops from the first 2 days?
Okay with the cardigan. That one, I'd probably go for the cardigan. Probably wouldn't go with Wyndham t-shirts there.
That's
not a bit of me, yeah.
No, and then Sergio, I went to a stag do once and played golf, and I wore that outfit.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was obviously.
Was you the stag?
It wasn't my stag. No. and then here we go. The Jason Day pants, which I thought he was going to take off at one point.
The bagginess is okay, but it's a performance issue here.
Yes,
around the wind and that sort of stuff.
But I like the vest. I quite enjoyed this vest that he wore. I mean, it's great advert for Malbon, obviously, but I saw a great tweet about his trousers. It was, Jason Day holds a unique distinction of being the only man in the field at the Masters who could jump out of a plane today and land safely. Yeah. But surely they would put you off, those trousers, putting.
Yeah, they definitely would. Yeah, they definitely would. Yeah. What about this one here?
Thorbjorn. Now, I don't like this. I don't like this.
My issue with that is the cap. So the cap's very much leisure wear. But they've got a real smart look going on, which is fine. He could possibly get away with visor, maybe like the high brim visor. But essentially, if he had no cap on, that would be quite vibey.
But if he has to wear some kind of hat outfit there, what would you choose? A top hat.
A top hat.
Thorbjorn in a top hat at Augusta.
A high brim visor, I would go for.
High brim visor?
High brim visor.
High brim.
Old school visor.
Or a fedora, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's just the colours he's just got a bit wrong, hasn't he? If he wore a pair of navy trousers or something. it might look a little bit different. But
Phil had that shirt on, 2018
Yeah,
somewhere,
yeah.
PGA possibly.
Bjorn wears it better, doesn't he?
He does wear it better. He's a good-looking man, Bjorn, as well. He does wear some good stuff. But you having that or not, Ollie?
well, listen, Tour I always think looks brilliant. I'm not sure he's got it quite right there. But he is someone that clothes generally look very, very good on.
I know, it's annoying.
But anyway, listen, whatever floats the boat.
Exactly,
I don't
that's
think
what I was
I'd be in
gonna
that.
say.
You know,
Yeah.
Tour's
If
ripped.
he's happy.
If he's happy, that's
He's
the main
happy.
thing, yeah.
But is he happy?
I wonder what Dom thought.
Yeah, that would be an interesting
He's
opinion
caddy.
to get, wouldn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
I wonder if Dom's got one on. He might want to
He
have one
might have
under the
underneath, sweating in the in that outfit as well. Yeah, it's a bit of fun there from Augusta last week. Just a quick look ahead to this week, everyone. It's the RBC Heritage, which is at Hilton Head, brilliant venue. It's a signature event, no cut, limited field, with ridiculous prize pool. Should they be having these signature events straight after a major, especially after the Masters?
No. Needs a week break, doesn't it? When Scottie Scheffler did an interview and he was talking about nipping home and then back to work next week, it was a bit like, you need to give them, let's free touch the ground a little bit. I don't know, that we get so, just from a fan point of view, we've been really spoilt with having the Masters last week. Like, it's amazing. And then to go the next week being a signature event, as a fan, I'm probably a bit switched off. Like, if I had a week break, I'd be like, okay, yeah, what's on the golf? But right now, like, nothing is going to compare or get anywhere close to what I've just watched. So, would I watch it? Maybe. Yeah, I probably would, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be nice to have a little bit of a lull and then back out again.
I mean, for Scotty especially. Scotty surely just wants to let it all sink in, sleep in the green jacket.
Well, it's a great tour, but you've only got to drive 150 miles to the next week. When you look at the schedule, we're trying to put in a schedule of events into the players in how it works. And the PGA Tours, when's it finish? It finishes in August, September. So they're trying to, you've got the major season now in 4 months. It used to be longer than that. You obviously had the Arnold Palmer, the Genesis, TPC Sawgrass as well. That's a ridiculous prize fund. So they've got to cram them all in. While the guys are playing at the Masters, you got an event down the road that is, you're going to get the best field you can. So I don't know. I think from a player's perspective, it's a great 2-week stretch. Masters, huge event again. Mm-hmm. They'll have a week off. Then they'll go and play again and build up to the PGA. So it's all about kind of judging your season and working out what it is. So I think from a player's perspective, it actually works quite nicely, and the sponsors will get the best field that they will possibly get because of that. So, and all the time we're sitting here looking at the schedules. Schedules are changing everywhere, whether it's LIV, whether it's the DP World Tour, the PGA Tour. They're all changing the way that their season working over the last few seasons, and it's quite hard to keep up with. But I think from a player's perspective, if you can get as much good golfing or better events in a short space of time, and you can kind of start feeling your feels, getting used to hitting the shots you want to hit. These courses with the signature events on are generally around the same courses. They're iconic events on the PGA Tour. So it will be, I think it'll be a great week. And a week again, I think, Tommy, look out for Tommy this week.
Yeah? Is he your pick?
Well, he's great to the green. You need
tight golf course.
It's tight golf course. There'll be a little bit of breeze there. Bunkering, it's well bunkered. The greens are slopey. Tommy's not putting, if he can find a few more putts on the greens, he's well in with a shout.
Good iron players do well around Hilton.
Yeah, that's right.
Sink one.
And Fitzy
won as well,
did, yeah.
Depending this week.
Yeah.
As well.
Spieth. Yeah.
You don't get long, not really massive hitters when they're on head.
No.
Who's your pick?
CT Pan, he was pretty good around there, wasn't he?
Yeah, CT Pan.
Yeah, and he's propped up just recently, but I mean, do we even need
Scheffler's playing, isn't he?
Yeah. Is it?
Meredith's holding out. She's like, she's like, Scotty, just keep earning $4 million a week with her. It's fine.
When's your next week off?
Yeah.
I mean, is this a pick outside of Scottie Scheffler?
I think we go now. Oh, God, that's incredible that we're now getting to a pick without Scotty. We've never done that on the podcast. No. Not include a player.
Has Tony Finau pulled out?
I don't know.
Hovland
pulled out early on Saturday.
If Tony's playing, I'm going to say Tony Finau.
Okay. There's part of me
what is happening with Victor at the minute as well, eh?
No one knows. Australia, see the 6-inch putt he missed on 15.
Yeah.
That was just he's not in a good way at the
He's
moment.
He got a good 5 foot. He got a good 5 footer after.
He changed coach this
Changed
year.
coach, yeah, I know. He's still trying to find things. He said, which I mean, why you change when you've won the FedEx Cup?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another story.
He's also been linked with going as well.
Yeah, he's another rumoured to go.
The focus
to
is that taken him away? Has it not? We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, especially. I'm going Will Zalatoris, who since he's come back from injury, the guy's been amazing.
Yeah, he had that 80 early. Got that out of the way, and then he's just pressed on.
At Century, it was at Century.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, 3 top 10s. He was 9th last week as well. So an 8th in strokes gained approach this year. Lovely for Hilton Head. That'll do for me. But yeah, it's a great watch, Hilton Head, everyone. It's on Sky this week. Part of a bumper set of golf, including the Chevron. Spoke to Sophie Walker early on. First women's major of the season as well. First of 5 in the women's game as well. So it should be fantastic. Very briefly, breaking news before we came on. Thomas Bjorn, vice captain of the Ryder Cup team. Not a bad choice for Luke.
Yeah, I mean, we spent a bit of time. You spent a lot more time with Thomas than I have. You know, if he says something, you're gonna listen whether you like it or not. That's kind of what you want, isn't it?
Did you call him the Godfather earlier? Didn't you?
Well, he listen. There's no doubt Thomas has been so instrumental over the last few years in European golf. You know, he's players chairman for a long time. Done a really good job as that. You know, he was keen, obviously the changeover from George to Keith, and his Ryder Cup captaincy in France would obviously be a huge.
Does that put pressure on Luke, do you reckon?
I think Thomas puts could put pressure on anyone if he wants to. It's Tom in the nicest way possible. But
he loves this show, by the way.
Yeah, no. But I think the thing is about Thomas is that if he wants you on his side and he's there, he's a great asset to have for the team. You know, he's been there, he's been around. You know, he played all those practice rounds back in the day with Tiger in 2000. You know, he was close to him, and you see Tiger at his best. He always had one of the best short games on tour. He knows everyone in the business, and I think from Luke's perspective, it must be nice to have someone that knows the business like that, from a PGA Tour side, a DP World Tour side. Understands what's going on, and if you got their ear and you got that trust, why not do it again? And Tom, it'll be interesting to see what Tom does with his career now. I think he had an amazing week in Morocco a couple of weeks back, finished second to Ricardo Gonzalez on the Champions Tour, and if he goes out and plays well on the Champions Tour in the next little while and gets into the playoffs, let's hopefully see him have a nice little sort of back end of his career and a bit of a renaissance, and see him sort of flying the flag again for Denmark, and which he has done for a long time. With Hodggaard and the twins coming through. There's a lot of positives about Denmark, and great to see him.
And he is, like as you said there, like he's like, if he, he's happy to give his opinion, and he can come across quite surly at times and quite kind of intimidating to a certain extent. But he's very aware of players around him and the younger players. Like when I first I played the French Open with him, and I was on the Challenge Tour and got an invite, and we played together in the second or third round. And it was a big deal for me to play in that tournament. I was playing alongside Thomas, and he's kind of he's a big character, and he's for a better word, a bit grumpy on the course. He's like he's going about his business, and so you're kind of staying out of his way really. And we kind of finished a round, and as we were walking off 18, I'm nothing to him sort of thing. But at the time, it was a big deal for me that he put his arm around me and said, "Look," he said, "I've got to have a word with you." Like I was thinking, "Oh, what have I done? Like it's a nightmare." And he's just like, "You're too good for Challenge Tour. You need to get yourself out here." And walking out up to the recorder's hut after that, I was thinking like,
that was your Ludvig Åberg moment.
Yeah.
That was it. That was Rory saying
to you. Wrong. Yeah. Maybe doesn't have quite the same weight from Thomas, does it? But he was aware enough. It doesn't mean nothing to him. He's in the middle of his career, but he's like,
got a big heart, hasn't he?
Exactly.
He's got a big heart.
He really cares. Yeah.
And his in the team room. Not that I've ever been in the Ryder Cup team room, but I'd imagine he's a great man to have in that scenario.
Corner.
Yeah, and I think if you you can count on him if you needed something. So Luke obviously sees that in him, and I think from the DP World Tour's perspective, it's a great addition and selection. Yeah,
fingers crossed for next time in America this time as well for Luke's team. Right, that wraps things up for this week's podcast, however you're watching or listening to this. Chaps, thanks very much. Appreciate you coming in. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the Thorbjorn Olesen shirt next time we play.
Yeah, just without the cap, I'll be wearing
the top hat.
Capless, yeah.
Top hat.
Fedora.
Ollie as well, great to see you. See you next
Thanks,
time.
Josh.
And everyone watching, thanks very much for watching or listening. We'll see you next time.